Welcome back to Estes and Rocky Mountain National Park. Decided to make the trek over here again and see what we can get into. Fall colors are in full swing. Rut should be going pretty hard. Hopefully another good one. Hopefully stick around to the end and just enjoy the video and the beautiful scenery and everything. And yeah, we'll see what we get. After getting settled in our place, we decided to head into the park and see what elk we could find. We quickly found a mature 6-point bull with a giant scar on his right side. We spent the evening with them, watching him keep his herd under control and other bulls at bay. The next morning and evening were really quiet in terms of elk activity. I had a difficult time finding any mature bulls, and as I was filming this small raghorn, I noticed on a hillside about 800 yards away something was going on. I ran back to the car with my camera in one hand and my son in the other arm. We packed up the car quickly and headed over across the meadow. I had to park the car quite a ways away and walk down to where the elk herd was. As I was walking down, I noticed a lot of other bulls in the area. They all seemed to keep their distance. As I got closer, I kept thinking to myself, what kind of bull could keep this many other bulls at bay? And then I saw him. To my surprise, we found the bull I had been looking for, split fifth. Okay, that wraps up our first full day in the park. Pretty good day, fun morning, just kind of looking around trying to figure out where they were. And then this evening, finally got to see Split Fifth in person. He's every bit as impressive as I had hoped he would be. I got some of the shots I had been dreaming of, so can't complain at all about tonight. And got to spend it with my son, so that was fun as well. So we're getting ready for bedtime now, so we'll see you tomorrow. The next morning, the meadows were alive with bugles. Split Fifth was nowhere to be found. A bull had moved into the area that I had nicknamed Gimpy 6 because the main beam on his right side was formed differently than his left. Soon, a large broken 6-point showed up on the scene. If you look closely, you can see on Gimpy 6 that on his G1s, he's got a couple of kickers that come off straight up. These kickers off the G1s are exactly what the famous bull Samson had, who was poached back in 1995. This led me to believe that Gimpy 6 shares the same bloodline as Samson. As Gimpy 6 and Broken 6 tried to draw their boundaries, I kept hearing another bull bugling off in the distance that kept getting closer and closer. At the time, I assumed it was a satellite bull that was coming in to all the sound of antlers clanking and bugles. Little did I know, it was far from a satellite bull that was coming in. With the dominant split fifth back on the scene, Gimpy 6 and Broken 6 quickly tried to move their cows away. This led me to running down the road with my camera, trying to keep up with the bulls. I eventually caught up to round 2 of split 5th and the broken 6th. But this time, split 5th was not going to take defeat as the acceptable outcome.
Dad, but we're really fighting over that guy. No, they're gonna get stuck together and then someone's gonna break it.
As split 5th moved towards the larger herd, Gimpy 6 moved into position to try to defend the cows. Even though Gimpy 6 was not the biggest bull, he had fight in him like none of the others that I had seen. He pushed hard, surged, twisted his head, and fought with everything he had, and each time the outcome was in his favor. Soon, another bull that I had not seen showed up on the scene. I nicknamed this bull Top End because of his large 4th, 5th, and 6th points. For a while, split 5th and Top End were sizing each other up. They seemed to know they didn't want to get into a battle with each other. But eventually, they had to push each other around a little bit just to see who really was the dominant one. At the end of it all, it's difficult to say who the real herd bull was. I will say it seems that Gimpy 6 was the one who defeated everybody. Watching the elk push off into the tree line, it didn't seem that any particular bull had the large share of the cows. Well, another great morning. Split 5 lost his herd. Looks like 2 other bulls kind of split it up. I'm guessing he lost them overnight based on what it looked like. And he came back trying to reclaim them. Got some good fights. Always exciting out here. You never know what's going to happen. I'm kind of surprised he lost that herd. It looked like last night he had a pretty good perimeter and all that, but maybe he was just getting too worn down from chasing all the bulls last night. He did look pretty tired. But yeah, great morning. Heading back now, sun's fairly high. A lot of the elk have moved back into the trees or into their harder to get to areas. So I'm gonna head back to the condo, get some breakfast, and I think we're heading into town today for Elkfest. I think I'm gonna try to compete again in the calling contest and see what we can do there. Can't complain. Good morning. See you in a little bit.
All right, caller number 5. Cow calf sounds whenever you're ready. Time. All right, 30-second bull sounds whenever you're ready. Time. Good job, caller number 5. And your champion, Jacob S. All right, fellas, line up and let's take the picture.
That evening, the meadows were pretty quiet. There were no large herds of elk. I ended up finding Gimpy 6 and the Broken 6, and neither of them had cows. This seemed to somewhat answer the question that I had from this morning, although I still don't know if the victor was split 5 or top end. The next day, the meadows remained quiet. Lone bulls were out wandering, but no cows were anywhere to be found. I spent some time with Broken 6. And then I eventually found a group of mule deer with some decent bucks. That evening, I found the broken six harassing the bull with the large scar. Up until this point, I had not seen any bulls challenge the bull with the scar, and seeing the way the bull with the scar held off the broken six, I can understand why. Hey everybody, so I just want to take a second here to talk with you for a second. So when I started editing this video, I was in the middle of it, and that was when I got word about Split Fifth. So for those who are unaware, he was harvested by a hunter this past October, legally harvested. And it's been controversial. There's been a lot of fighting and stuff on social media. To be expected. That's the way social media is, unfortunately. But I just wanted to take a second and talk about that. So it's unfortunate that we're not going to get to see him anymore, and that does make me sad from that perspective as a photographer. And yeah, I mean, he was a cool bull. He had a certain dominance about him. Sad to see that he's not going to be around anymore to photograph, but at the same time, I'm an avid elk hunter, and so I don't fault the hunter by any means. I'm happy, honestly, that he was legally taken. You know, you look at bulls like Samson who were poached, and unfortunately that is the outcome a lot of the time with really large bulls like that. So grateful that he was taken legally, and also that he wasn't taken down by wolves or starvation or something like that. That's a really, really painful and ugly way for an animal to go. So in all reality, being harvested by a hunter is probably the best way that he could have gone. There have been a lot of people who have really been making a big deal about giving wild animals names. And I think it's honestly a little bit ridiculous when you think about it. The whole reason that we use names is just for a quick and easy way to identify an animal, instead of saying the bull with the split on his fifth point, or that one bull with the broken sixth point, or, you know, the bull that has the really long tines for his fourth, fifth, and sixth points. Like, it's such a mouthful, and when you're talking with people trying to describe an animal, it just doesn't make sense. So you name them. And it's not something that's isolated to just a particular group. It's not isolated to just photographers or nature lovers or anything like that. And I've seen a lot of hunters really getting on people about that type of thing. Anybody who knows anything about elk hunting very much understands that we as elk hunters, we name animals all the time. Find any outfitter in the West who knows the animals on that mountainside, and I can guarantee you that they are naming those bulls. So yeah, as you saw through this video, I use names to identify the elk, and it's not because I think they're pets. It's literally just a simple way to refer to an animal. And honestly, I think that people need to just relax about that a little bit, because it's honestly ridiculous. So that's where we stand on that. Just wanted to talk about that for a second as well. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and yeah, see you on the next one.